and I will have an activity. First, think about it. You can always come back to your original seat, but for now, I would like the analyzer to sit here, the participator next, the taskmaster here, and the energizer here. Right? If you have decided which bird or which type you identify with, so let's move. Analyzer, please come to sit here. Participator, this area. Energizer, here. And taskmaster, here. Yeah, move. Now we can move. Move. I'd like the two TAs to participate in the game too. Erica and the Noodle, I'd like you to participate in it too. So you two are going to participate, in our games. Like I said, you have to pull two chairs. Maybe we have enough chairs. Maybe we have enough chairs. Would all the analyzers sit in this area? Participator here. Energizer here, and taskmaster here. Analyzer is more like an owl. Participator is a dove. Energizer is a lark. And taskmaster is a hawk.
Which one are you?
Okay, so which one are you? Analyzer, right? How many analyzers? Please raise your hand. Are you an analyzer too? Probably?
Wait, maybe.
Okay. And you are participator. And here, energizers. Energizers, raise your hand. So you are the only energizer or taskmaster. There's no energizer. And taskmaster here. Okay, very interesting, right? Mm-hmm. No energizers here.
I was hoping to have Energizer.
Are you?
Well, can I?
Sure. Okay. All right, now you have identified who you are. Let's do this activity. Discuss in your group and identify 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses of your personality. And then identify your opposite group, their strengths and their weaknesses. Okay, let's first do the 1 and 2. And after we all finish, we will give advice to your other groups who work closely with you when you go to Geneva, for example. All right, now let's discuss in your group for 5 minutes your own strengths and weaknesses, and identify your opposite group and find out their strengths and weaknesses. Remember, somebody has to take notes.
question from the right. So, okay, participator. Reach out and touch someone. What do you think?
Personal culture. You will collect all of the opinions and say the middle solution.
As a, yeah, mediator. So, what is the relationship? How do you, is that a strength or is that a weakness?
Sometimes it will be a weakness because when we want to achieve a goal, we just focus on the relationship. It will fail at first.
Right? So, what's your right? Between the four groups, are you willing to run the house
Yes.
What about just weakness of your traits? What do you think? What is your weakness? Or maybe understand that you are participators. What is makes you so what do you think is the weakness of being a participator?
I won't say it in English, but I think if you want to do something, think there, you can make decision.
So that takes a long time or a short time? So how do you see that making long, taking long?
Three strengths and weaknesses of your own group and your opposite group. And then you can think about what advice you will give to your opposite group if you work together in a team.
What does it say that we do? What is that?
Always not ready.
Always not ready. Okay, so how do you put that on? That's fine, but then you have to explain it, right?
Yeah.
Anything else? What about the what is that? Or do you think you're someone as an active person?
Okay, very good. I think we've given people some time to reflect on these questions. Did you notice the three groups are very different? It's because of Nuru, she identifies herself as an energizer. And this group is more people oriented. When they are together, they talk. And Nuru initiates conversation as an energizer. So in this group, you know, their communication is continuous and very high, you know. But these two are not, they are task-oriented. You know, you're more task-oriented, not as people-oriented. So when you talk about things, did you notice these two are quieter? And especially for this group, it's harder to get started. They have to think first, you know, what to do. And this group actually is very eager to get started, but a little confused, so very frustrated. But they want to get things done quickly. All right, so let's start. We should always start with energizer when you do debriefing, and never start with analyzer, okay? So our sequence is start with energizer, and then followed by taskmaster, then to participator, and finally analyzer. All right? Okay? But since this group is actually a participator, you help them to start the conversation. They really don't need anybody to start a conversation. They can listen and they look at each other and they can carry out a conversation fine. So tell us, strengths and weaknesses of your group.
Our strength is good at listening, and that balance is the first task of in our mind.
Balance?
Yes, the relationship in
Okay, harmony.
yes,
You know, everybody has to participate equally. No dominance. Mm-hmm.
And the third is we will have a lot of friends in a group.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Relationship building.
Yes.
You make friends. Uh-huh. Weaknesses?
The weakness is when we make a decision, we have to decide what to
Uh-huh. It takes a long time to decide because everybody needs to say something and listen carefully,
do.
right? Okay, do you have other things to add?
We are kind of too bounded with
You have what?
too bounded with others. Like we get opinions from others and we listen too much.
Okay. Sometimes it takes a long time to get ready, and get ready forever, get ready. And no action. Mhm. Don't act very quickly. Who is the opposite group? Which group is the opposite?
What we discussed is hard for a long time ago.
Uh-huh. They don't have enemies, so it's hard to find the opposite. But if you have to pick one, which group is the opposite? It's a hard decision, but which group? Taskmaster. All right? They think taskmaster. But tell us about their strengths and their weaknesses. You haven't said much. You want to tell us? It's hard.
No
It's
idea.
hard. She doesn't want to make enemies. Okay. Do you want to say something?
Their strength is they will achieve the goal no matter what happens. And
Weaknesses?
weakness is they will have no friends.
Okay, now we're gonna turn to the taskmasters to defend themselves. What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Okay, as a taxmaster, I think we will have friends, I think, for sure. And I think our strength is, first one is efficient. We can get jobs done, so I think we're
Efficiency.
efficient.
You're very
efficiency.
efficient.
yeah, we're efficient and get our job done. And the second is personal control.
Personal control.
Yeah, personal control.
Uh-huh.
And third,
Self-discipline.
yeah, and the third will be have a little bit flexibility because we can adjust well.
So
we
you
do.
have flexibility.
Yeah, I think we have flexibility. We can adjust to some.
Okay.
And better ways, better opinions, I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
to make sure a job gets done.
Right, to make sure your job gets done, you can be flexible. Yeah?
I think within our workers will be 2 tenths to pass everything.
Two
2
tenths.
tenths, yes,
2 tenths.
2 nervous to pass everything.
Mhm.
And we perhaps we perhaps will be lack of creativity, and we tends to be limited in our schedule.
Ah,
And
follow the schedule,
Yeah.
rigid, the schedule, deadline.
The third one, I think perhaps we will be give others too much pressure. I think, yeah.
Yeah, push others too much, you know. Get it done, right now. So you want to talk about the opposite group or more your strengths?
If our goal is to making friends, I think we will do best.
Right. So in other words, making friends is also a task. Yeah, you make an effort to make friends. That's taskmaster. Which group is the opposite?
I think it would be the energizer. Sorry.
Okay, why? We'd like to say why the energizers are really the opposite of you. Yeah, energizer. Feel free to talk. Yeah, everybody can talk. Why is energizer the opposite? Maybe that's for him, not for you. Which group is the opposite for you? Energizer. All agree.
Sometimes we think they're doing something without planning.
Without planning, no plan. Yeah?
So to add to that, the energizers are, they're a really spur of the moment kind of people to some extent. And so I don't think much planning gets into, they don't put much planning into things. It's okay, let's just be creative and let's just do whatever. But with taskmasters, we have to have a plan in order to get whatever needs to get done in time.
Uh-huh. How do you know they're not planning? Maybe they are very intuitive. You know, the intuition is right there. Wow, very fast. You know, everything planned already right there, and play it by ear. Be flexible. So you need to defend yourself.
Okay. Energizers can do planning, and then also, I think as an energizer, we don't spend too much time in planning, because if we spend too much time in planning, then when is we going to go? We're going to do it. So that's one of the reasons. Like, we do plannings, but the time spent on planning may be different with the others. Yeah, I think that's my my defend at the moment. Yeah.
Then which is the opposite group?
Probably the analyzer.
Tell us about
Alright, yeah.
their strengths and weaknesses.
From the point of view of an energizer, analyzer is quiet and less talkative. You know, very what is it? Very tranquil. You know, do you know what tranquil means? Like very patient. Like a river, it would just like flow slowly. You know, yeah.
Sometimes you need to take tranquilizer if you're too energy.
Yeah.
Tranquilizer.
Yeah, well, the energizer is in a river. It would be like the rapids, like movements, very fluid and very flexible. As I do in my hand, as you say, I'm a energizer. Oops. Yeah, and
You're
yeah.
smooth.
So you're smooth. You're all like you're analyzing things a bit too much for an energizer point of view. From an energizer point of view, so it's kind of like for Energizer, it's like, come on, you have to move on. I think that's it.
Okay, now we need to hear from our analyzers.
I think our strengths are we do things before we making plans before doing things. So we will consider a lot of situation we may have to face. And we will make sure that we have all the backgrounds and knowledges we have to take challenges. So we will be well prepared. And third, we think we will think and analyze a lot of things. But the weak we have is that we probably can handle changes and risks because we may not have the plan before. Or we don't predict the risk before we make the plan. And we may not have, we can do things by ourselves. We probably need others' help to encourage us to take action.
Right, so you need these people to help you, push you,
Yes.
come on, do it.
And sometimes we may think too much, just like the Energizer says.
Okay, how about the opposite group?
And we think our opposite group is the taskmaster.
Taskmasters.
And the strengths of taskmaster is they may push us to do something. And
See, on the one hand, they want you to push them. On the other hand, they hate it.
and they may not consider it a lot. Like they just want to achieve their goal and they ignore anything else.
Right, so this is an important exercise. So now you can see how other people view you. And when you feel this is my strength, other people think this is really a weakness, right? So if you participate in the Geneva program, you are going to be paired up with people of the opposite personality. What suggestion would you give? For example, taskmaster, you are paired up with an analyzer. What suggestion would you give to them so that they can work well with you? Everybody can say something. You know, if you happen to get paired up with her in a group, and you're a taskmaster and she thinks, how can you get things done? What suggestion would you give her?
For doing something, we can link her to data mining or get some data to our can make some decision to achieve our text.
Okay, so you do the data mining, he makes a decision. How about you?
So like he said, they can think we can do.
Okay, you do all the thinking, she does all the doing.
Yeah, I'm holding mostly the same opinion to provide useful and practical information for us, and we can make maybe critical decisions.
Again, you don't make all the decision, you just give them data.
Contrary to their belief, I actually think the analyzers and the task makers are closer have more things in common than the other two. So I think we're more paired as opposed to opposite. And my advice would just be patience. The taskmasters have to give the analyzers patience to go through their analyzing and thinking in order to make their decision. And the analyzers be considerate that you're working with people who are
Impatient.
Yeah.
Working with people who are impatient. They are patient.
Yeah.
This is impatient. Yeah, but they need to be considerate. You bear with these impatient people.
Right. If I work with an analyzer, I would probably lose patience. No, I mean like, but seriously, talking seriously, an energizer should be like more. I think that the function would be like a timekeeper. So, if possible, to meet the other personalities. Well, I agree with Erika. We have to have the patience. We have to understand the others' traits. That way we can adjust it with our pace. Because probably as an energizer, it would be the fast runner, but not necessarily doing the marathon because they lose the energy very fast. So having patience is also beneficial for energizer to work with others.
It's also a bad thing to keep the microphone with the energizer, so I have to grab it back to be on task. Okay, how about you?
If there are 4 types of people in a group, I think we can be the middle person because we are good at listening and we can touch others. So if we listen their opinions and we talk something to the taskmaster, and they do it.
Okay, so you're the bridge.
Yes.
You listen to both sides.
Mediator.
Just like he just said, I think participators kind of work in everywhere. Yeah, so
So
it's
you're
good to have
everywhere.
us.
So you're really indispensable. We always need a participator
Yeah.
to be in our group. Yes. How about analyzer? See, analyzer, like, what do you want me to do? Actually, this activity is very uncomfortable for them. You know, they don't want to be called to do things too fast, since we haven't even discussed all the definitions of the 2 personality types and give a very clear analysis of, you know, why these really fit. Okay, just jump in and do this. It's really uncomfortable for you, but I appreciate your participation and be patient with us. So if you have to work with, you know, taskmasters, you probably like the participators, but if you have to work with them, what suggestions would you give them?
I think it's a good idea that they have said is that we analyze things and we give them suggestions and they take action.
So you don't mind them making decision, you just give data and let them be the leader. You don't mind that.
Maybe we can discuss something.
That's the truth. Yeah.
I think discussion will be very important when we cooperate. So we have to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Then we can move on to take some action.
Very good. Okay. So I think this activity is helpful for you to keep in mind when you get on your program. Remember, these are ways to respond to 4 different types of personalities. If you face an analyzer, like this group, remember, always come prepared. They say they want to be prepared, right? So if you talk to them, don't just come to talk to them without preparation. They hate it. How about taskmaster? Taskmaster want them to do something. Don't waste your time, right? So don't just think all the time. Do something now. And for participator, you want people to be sincere, you know, not cheating. Everybody should be equal, you know, good relationship. For energizer, when we deal with her, we have to stretch outside the box. Right? Don't think too much, don't plan too much, but just go, have a good time, you know, play it by ear. So myself, can you guess what personality your professor belongs to? I should ask analyzer because they observe and they probably have a better idea. So what do you think my personality is? Taskmaster. Why do you think so? It's very obvious, right? It's obvious. Okay, why are you surprised?
I would think because I would think you are somewhere in between taskmaster and energizer, but I'm not really sure which one is most likely to be the majority.
She's right. I am a taskmaster dominant with an energizer, underneath. Yes. So now you know your instructor's personality, so you know how to deal with her throughout the 6 hours, because I have an energizer's bent inside too. I tend to be bubbly sometimes, very energetic, so you probably feel I'm too loud, too noisy. But on the other hand, if I am a taskmaster, you guys may feel that I'm not people-oriented. I don't care about your feeling. I just care to do things, on time, get it done, finish it quickly, and do it properly. So it's good to keep in mind who we are. Okay? Before you came to this program, I think Celia also sent you a PDF file. We are not going to do this in class because you already looked at your learning styles before you came. I just want to very quickly go to the very last part. This questionnaire is very good to tell us, what we prefer to learn, how we prefer to learn. But I think the bottom line is you need to improve your learning or working situation by stretching your style. If you are random intuitive, you probably need to stretch to more, what's the opposite of random intuitive? Let me just quickly, if you are random intuitive, then you need to be more concrete sequential, okay? If you are future-oriented, like energizer, you probably need to be more down to earth, stretch to present-oriented. Same thing. If you are more closure-oriented, you want to focus carefully on most of all learning tasks on task, you probably need to be more open-minded, enjoy discovery learning as an energizer. So this actually is related to your personality type. You need to stretch your learning styles. Okay, let's take a break for 5 minutes. Then we'll move on to the next, understanding culture.
I'm sorry,
Go back to your seat.
It's Can I write down?
Sure. This is how I spell it. My name is Suan.
You see me before?
Yeah.
Where?
Here.
Here. You mean I here to look for anyone?
No. I'm barely here. I've only come here like twice.
Vinanda.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. Okay. So you have to go correct. Is that yours?
All right, everybody is back. Now we are going to move on to our second period, which is to talk about your culture. We all have some cultural values. Let me use these 5 categories as an example. My point is very similar to what I said previously. Because of our personalities, we tend to behave in a certain way. Culture is way of living. It's conventionalized way of living, way of talking, okay? But as you have certain personality, you have certain preferred ways of living and ways of talking. But the society also has a certain norm, which maybe prefers, one of those ways of living which is different from your preferred ways of living. As a consequence, you probably feel, oh, I'm an outcast in the society. I'm an outcast in the society because I'm too shy or too quiet. But being shy and quiet is because you are a thinker, right? You don't jump on issues that quickly. That really doesn't mean anything negative about being shy or being quiet. Being talkative, in certain culture, they value that. They say, you need to stand up. You need to speak up. That's a certain cultural value, right? And if you don't like to stand up, speak up, you want to think, observe, and then decide what to do, there's nothing wrong with it. But somehow, if the society prefers certain value, you will feel you are an outcast. You don't belong to the society. So let's keep that in mind first. And sometimes that norm can change from time to time. So let's first think about this. Do you think there's a stereotype? Do you think Chinese people are more individualistic or more collective? Collective. What's the adjective form? Collective. You think Chinese people are more individualistic. Why?
Compared to the foreigners, we always silence in a group discussing. I observed it.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So Terry interprets being quiet as individualistic. But does anybody else have a different interpretation? Lawrence.
I would say Chinese people are more collective, I think. And normally, I don't think we only care about ourselves. And I think they, maybe because of old time system, the emperor or something, so we all listen to one guy, and so we seldom hold our own opinions or something like that. So I think we're more collective.
Okay. So he interprets being collective is, you shouldn't be, very individualistic, very different from the others. You listen to the power, right? You are a group. We tend to, behave as a group. For example, when I first came to CCU 5 years ago, I noticed that a lot of students like to bike together, especially a lot of guys from the engineering building. After, classes are over, they bike together in a group, like a pack. Several people bike together slowly, bike, and one guy puts his arm on the other guy while he's biking. So to me, that's a very interesting scene of collectivism. They behave together at the same time. They do things together, eat together, bike together. To me, it's a very interesting scenery. So some say Chinese are very what's the adjective? Collective. Yeah, Chinese are very collective, working in groups. But Terry feels Chinese are very individualistic. They are like sand, right? Sand. We say Chinese are 一盘散沙, sand. Okay, meaning they are not in groups. They are not doing things together, but very individually, do things on their own. Don't care about other people. So there are different ways of viewing people here. But according to the definition, collectivistic cultures feel loyalties and obligations to an in-group. For example, our family. We're loyal to our family, right? We're loyal to our country. That's a very collectivistic way of thinking. Individualistic cultures view their primary responsibility as helping themselves. If you don't help yourselves, nobody can help you, right? If you don't work hard, you will be left behind. That's individualistic. So that's the first dichotomy. You can think, sometimes you are very collectivistic, sometimes you are individualistic. Second, high power distance. Oh, by the way, at the end of this workshop, you will get the PPT. So don't feel you need to write down every single point. Look at these people here. Oh, let me go back to this picture. One culture focuses on me. The other focuses on we. Culture means preferred ways of doing things, or the correct way of living. And if you look at their relationship, what's their relationship here? What do you see? Yeah. Kendrick.
I think we have high power distance.
Yes, high power distance. Why?
Such as in the class, teacher want to make the class on time and
Unequal.
equal.
Unequal.
Unequal. Yeah. And sometimes teacher didn't want student to ask question in class because they will make a time later or determine their class.
Right, because you might challenge his or her authority,
Yeah.
and she may not be able to answer your question, then she will lose face, right? So it's better for you to be quiet and maybe ask questions later to save her face, okay? But look at high power distance. It's not only nonverbal communication. You bow, right? You bow. That's nonverbal communication. You use your body to show respect, to show submission. But also you use terms of address to show high power distance. For example, when I address you as Hendrik, and how would you address me? Okay, teacher, that's a Chinese translation, right, 老师. But in English culture, you probably would address me as Professor Rao, yeah, or Dr. Rao. But teacher, to me, a teacher in English-speaking culture is like elementary school. You will call your teacher, teacher. Otherwise, see, that's already asymmetrical. 不对的, asymmetrical. It's not symmetrical. Even though my first name is Victoria, sometimes Erica will call me Victoria. Sometimes she will call me Professor Rao, because she is not only my friend in the church setting, she's also my student, my advisee in the educational setting. There are many types of relationship between us. So she has to shift her term of address so that, she views now we are a teacher-student relationship, it becomes high power distance. And in the church setting, then she uses low power distance. We address each other, Erica, Victoria, equally. So you use language to show you're equal or unequal, right? You can address me as Professor Rao, but I don't call you Mr. What's your last name? What's your last name? Yan, right? Oh, I don't call you Mr. Yan, right? Okay, so that's one example. Let's think about the third dichotomy. In Taiwanese culture, in your family, when you decide what career to pursue, what major to study at a university, how do you make a decision? How do you make a decision? Kiwi. Yeah, how do you make a decision? The future, there are so many uncertainties, right? You have to take risks. Sometimes some job, some career path is unknown. You know, how do you make a decision? I think you guys are actually adventurous. Otherwise, we wouldn't participate in Geneva program. Are you willing to take risks? Let me ask this one. Are you trying to avoid uncertainty, or you're not afraid of uncertainty? Life is full of risks, full of uncertainties. Just, experience it.
To me, I tend to avoid uncertainty. Yeah. I tend to be afraid of I am afraid of what I don't know, and I try to do my best to know like what I should do in this Geneva program, or
Yes.
let's say.
That's interesting. Right. And since you want to avoid uncertainty, we need to provide clear guidelines, regulations for you, not to just leave you without any directions. Just explore yourself. You will scare yourself to death, right? So you need more guidance, and hopefully you can be paired up with somebody who's more adventurous. You keep that in mind, because you don't want to take risks. How about others? Do we have risk takers here? Share with us.
For me, I think we can get started first and see what happens. That's my opinion, I think. So we don't have to always follow the rules. Yeah.
See, even though both of them are taskmasters, right? Lawrence is more just, don't worry, and you're more sensitive and more concerned. So you can follow him around. Okay? How about the others? Are you, Mia, are you more willing to take risks or not?
I think I'm high avoidance of uncertainty too, but I would like to make decisions by following my heart. But I will make plan before I go some directions.
Right. Remember, she is a analyzer.
So I will make sure that I know what will I face in the future. So I will decide to walk this way.
Okay, very good. And how about Jessie? The two Jessies here.
I think I'm also a high avoidance of uncertainty because I'm a little bit afraid of risk, because when I face risk, I may don't know what to do, and I need someone's help and advice. So before doing anything, I may think a lot and make a plan.
Right. So in other words, the Geneva program should provide clear guidance, clear, clear regulations to help people who need more data and need more time and not want to take risks. But you said you are willing to take risk, right? I wonder if this is a male versus female thing. But here we haven't heard this guy's opinion. But you are a risk taker.
For this program, I think I just high avoidance
You are a high avoidance.
thinking of
High
this program
avoidance of
because
this.
I didn't have enough time and money, so I will think high avoidance of this program, but I will do things low avoidance of uncertainty because I think no risk, no return.
Okay.
So I want to get return, I want to get risk. So I think I will do something before I will high avoidance. I do think I will low avoidance.
Oh, so he has both, depending on the stages of the program. How about you?
I prefer to make
Take risks or no?
a max schedule of one things, but also I will make it flexible because we may face some risk during achieving the goal. So I will get both of it.
Okay, okay. So sometimes I wonder, are you willing to take risks? Yes? Okay, so maybe it's not a male versus female thing. We do have females over there who are very willing to take risks. That's why they came all the way from Belize or from Indonesia to Taiwan to face this new situation. They didn't speak any Chinese when they came. Even now, they still have some problem communicating in Chinese. Okay? But what I'm saying is, maybe in our culture, traditionally, we are not willing to take risks. We want our children to follow our career path, right? If I am a medical doctor, I want my son, my daughter. I don't know if I want my daughter, but at least Chinese parents, doctor parents would like their sons to be doctors again, right? So that's not risk-taking. Just follow my example. You will make it. Next, are we more concerned about our IQ or our EQ? Do you think our culture values achievement or nurturing? Achievement, taskmasters certainly value achievement. Peacemaker, doves, certainly want nurture the relationship. So when it comes to IQ versus EQ, I think these two doves, which two are doves? You and, okay, these two are doves. I think you values relationships. That's nurturing culture. And most taskmasters prefer achievement culture. You value material success and the task at hand. It's just a tendency, but sometimes we do show love and concern for other people. Next, the last one, high context versus low context culture. Would you say our society, our relationship is more high context or low context? Well, in an academic setting, it's certainly very much low context. In other words, everything has to be said clearly, explicitly. For example, please be seated. If I don't ask you a question, don't answer, for example. Don't raise your hand. That kind of directions is very much low context. In other words, language plays an important role. But in our society, I think if we're intimate with each other, if we're good friends with each other, we prefer high context relationship. In other words, if you know each other, if I look at Terry, and here he knows what I want. If suppose we knew each other very well, okay. For example, at home, husband and wife, they don't have to say much, right? The husband just looked at his wife, and the wife already knows what to do, and vice versa. That's high context culture. The context is important. Everything in the setting, everything in the context is rich enough. You don't need to use verbal communication. Just a gaze or, a facial expression is sufficient, right? But in a classroom setting, it's not the same. In academic presentation, remember when you come to do an oral presentation, you have to be as explicit as possible, right? You cannot just simply look at everybody, smile, done, finish. You can't do that, right? So these are different cultures. now I am going to move on to role plays. Jessica, Erica. There are too many Jessies here. I'm confused. Erica and Nuru are going to lead the role plays. There are 5 topics. Let me first briefly tell you how we design and organize these 5 topics. When you go to Geneva program or in an international setting, okay, she's not going to go to Geneva. She's here to learn. Eventually she will go to Geneva or somewhere else for study abroad. When you go to an international setting, you probably need to request help for missing luggage sometimes, right? And sometimes you need to learn how to plan things together. So it's a step-by-step procedure. How do you express the procedure step by step? That's the second genre. The third genre is narration. You need to tell stories and talk about, share your personal experience. That's the third genre. The fourth is we always have to say goodbye. When you say goodbye in different settings, you say it differently. When you have different participants, you say goodbye in a different manner. And finally, we also need to express gratitude, right? At the end of the Geneva program, you have to say bye-bye, thank you, to those who have blessed you. So these are the 5 topics they designed. So now I'm going to give the floor to Erica and Nurul to lead us in role plays.
Hi again. We were actually expecting much more people for our presentation this morning. So we're going to have to adjust our plan a little. So instead of having all 5 of the different scenarios, we're only going to have 3. And we're going to divide you up into groups of 2, 2, and 1 group of 3. And we're going to look at 3 of the scenarios or the role plays. We'll give you a few minutes to go over it and make a little plan as to how is it you want to role play it in front for everyone. And then you're going to come up and have 3 to 5 minutes to role play for the rest of us. The point of it is just to aid or to
The point is to learn how to communicate, how to communicate with each other, and the rest of. And I'm gonna observe what you do and try to analyze why you say certain things or behave in a certain way. Okay. Okay.
So, you would like to stay as is? 232? Or do you want to mix up a little? As is then? So, group of 2, 2, 3.
Okay. So which group does the role, the plays, the topics?
Okay, you each have a copy of all the scenarios.
5 papers that were given to you. Maybe you could look through it quickly, and if you would like to decide on which one you would like to do. If we have 2 people wanting to do the same thing, then we'll assign. Okay? So let's take let's say 2 minutes, and quickly look through the 5 scenarios, and you pick which one you would like to, as your group together, you pick one that you would like to come and role play for us.
Choose one out of the 5 scenarios. There are 5 scenarios.
Topic 3. Topic 3 is gone. They're doing narration of an adventure.
Topic 1 is gone.
Topic 1 is gone. So that leaves 2, 4, and 5.
Yes, it's. Topic 1.
2, 4, and 5 are left.
So topic 1 is gone.
Yeah.
Interesting. With 3.
So 3.
And plan to talk to each other a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and start planning. How is it you're going to?
What kind of discussion is, not discussion.
Who you need to decide like who is going to be what the persons that are going to be in the actual situation if it should happen. For example, okay, you have yours?
Yes,
Topic 4. Topic 4 is gone.
Alright.
So 2 and 5 are left, right? Nobody picked 2. Okay, so for example, if we look at topic 2, it says that you're going to plan a surprise party for your friend. So you're pretty much going to come up here and the rules have pretty much been decided. You'll have 2 friends talking to each other, 3 friends talking to each other. And yeah, and we would talk about where the party is going to be, when the party is going to be, how is it that the surprise is going to happen, and all that. So Noodle and I will demonstrate this one for you, so you get an idea of what is going to happen. Hey Noodle, tomorrow is Victoria's birthday. She's our friend here. So we have to plan a surprise party for her.
Yes. Right, but when should we have the surprise party for her? Is it
Well, her birthday is tomorrow, but she will more than likely expect that we would do something for her, so maybe we should wait until next weekend. Then it will be a surprise.
That's so surprising. More surprising. Right. I'm not really sure that next week she will have a class. So why don't we take her to a park? So that way we can have, I can ask her, oh, let's go to the park to have a picnic. But she wouldn't guess it would be a surprise party.
Yeah, with some friends hanging out. So then who would be the people that we would invite?
Definitely the classmates, right?
Mhm.
But who else do you think?
Well, she doesn't really like her aunts and uncles that much, so maybe we won't invite them. And if we invite her parents, they're probably going to spoil and let it feel uncomfortable for her, not want to be as loose. So maybe just friends, just our close friends from school and so on.
I'll
Okay.
write it down the list then.
Okay, and then you plan and cook what we're going to eat, and I'll do the invitations.
What kind of cakes or what kind of
Oh, we need a cake too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I know Victoria loves chocolate fudge cake. How about that? I know a friend who can make a chocolate fudge cake. So I can
Oh,
ask her.
great. Okay, so we're set
Yes,
next week,
next
and
week.
you do the invitations.
I will bring Victoria there.
Alright.
Oh, you don't blindfold her or anything, right?
No, that will spoil the surprise.
Alright
Okay.
then.
All right. So see ya.
See you.
Next
Bye.
week.
Next week. Bye.
That's very interesting. What did you notice from their role play? Based on, our personality types or cultural values, what did you notice from their role plays? Let's share a little bit. I noticed when they stand with each other, stand next to each other at the beginning, they're actually, their distance. Could you stand again? Let's show their distance.
But can I explain something? I don't want to cover this.
Yeah, we were trying to avoid
Okay, that explains, when we observed it, my first reaction is, wow, their distance is further apart, That doesn't indicate to their close relationship, but now they say it's because they don't want to block the screen. That explains it. Anything else?
Also pulled up 2 chairs or something.
Yeah, so they probably would have could pull up a chair and it's better to sit, which is more natural, okay? What else did you notice from their relationship or their role play, their personality or cultural values? Did you observe anything? I observed Erica's dominance, right? At the end, after they discussed a little bit, Erica said, you do this, right? You do this. So she is a commander-in-chief. You do this. Very typical taskmaster. Anything else you observed in your communication style? I noticed they ask questions to each other. It's not just Erica ask Nuru, but she started by asking all the questions, but then after Nuru replied, responded, giving suggestion, she turned around and said, what do you think? How about this and that? So that's a quite equal relationship. And finally, I see how they bid farewell, how they say goodbye. Right? When they say goodbye, how do they say goodbye? Hug each other, right? That's their preferred way of showing intimacy. So you already see a lot of culture in this role play. Okay, now.
So now let's take 3 minutes. Do you think that would be enough for you to prepare for your role play? You all are going to be movie stars today.
Smile because there's a camera.
The camera's there all day.